Hello, hi everyone. This is Leimomi, Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul Alignment Coach here, and I wanted to make a video for everyone to really talk about basically, why manifesting from the brain is actually much harder than manifesting from the heart, and how you could be actually losing thousands of dollars because you are manifesting the harder way to do it, and then the steps of how you can do this through alignment. So basically, this is my expertise. I teach people on how they can take what their soul level gifts are by giving them their soul's blueprints, and basically using it to clear out any of that energetic noise that may be blocking them in their Akashic records, and also like taking that and being able to manifest whatever you desire through alignment. So if you're just, the first to listen to my live streams, I basically have this live stream show about soul aligned manifestation, abundance, and I teach you everything about how to create abundance in your life. So if you're just listening in, just say hello, just so I know that you're there. I like to do this practically every day, at least Monday to Thursday or Friday, and I share about all of these different tips. So the first thing that you need to know is that most of the time, a lot of the things that we maybe have created was directly made from the brain. Unless you have been doing it in a way where you're feeling it and you're taking an aligned action to your gift, it's very, very difficult to replicate whatever you just did or you manifested if it's only through the brain. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, why would you only manifest from your brain when really most of the things that we create and even the different dimensional levels of the soul all comes from the heart. Our heart is a whole other system that we've never ever even considered looking at, and studying it. So I'm basically, showing people that you can actually study your heart without going into all the sciencey stuff, but like you yourself can do this through actions, through soul aligned actions. Hi Michael, hi Amanda, hi Elizabeth. If you really love my live stream show here, totally just share, so that the more the merrier, right? People can actually see what I'm talking about. Okay, so basically, the reason you don't want to manifest from the brain is because you're going to always get the polarity of it. You're always going to get positive or negative at the same time. It's very unlikely that you will get only positive because the way the brain works on a functional level, it's polarized, okay? If you study about the brain, it's always polarized. There's always a positive and a negative effects. But if you manifest from the heart, it's actually where everything is created. If you look all the way down to like how we were created in the womb, the first thing that was created was our heart, and everything else, our eyes, our nose, our body, all of it came from the heart. So we have kind of thought oh, the brain is more important, but actually the heart is, because it carries all the ancient codes, everything about your soul, your DNA is in your heart. And there's actually a higher level of intelligence in your heart. There's actually a smaller heart inside, like a sacred space in your heart, inside of the heart itself. So when you actually start to manifest from the heart, you will have a deeper access to higher frequencies, ancient codes and downloads of information. All of that is all going to come through your heart. Right now in 2017, our spirituality is growing, our consciousness is growing, because all of the old codes, ancient codes, the frequencies that's coming through right now is bringing out all of those latent intuitive abilities all at the same time. And it's all directly coming from your heart chakra. So if you ever, feel like your gifts are expanding and you ever feel like you're just getting more and more this feeling of alignment, what's really happening on an energetic level is your heart is absolutely pumping the 5D creation. I'm not going to go too much about the spiritual stuff, just I want to explain about how really beautiful and complex your heart is, but simple at the same time. So you really, really want to first learn how to live in your heart, right? Live from that conscious place of whatever your heart desire and bringing that into fruition, right? So that's the first thing you need to know, is that you'll always get a negative or a positive effect of polarity when you use the brain, and you'll get that at the same time. Second thing is that you will feel like it's something like some magic pill that you did when you manifest from the brain, and it's very hard for you to know where is that actually came from, because a lot of what just shifted when you did it from the brain came from a mindset. And unless you have mindset ninja skills, like, it's very hard to duplicate it. I mean, I've tried it myself too. It's really hard to duplicate it. You can do all of these like phrases and affirmations and stuff like that, which they do work occasionally, but the true creation really is coming directly from the heart. So the heart itself, the reason is because your heart only knows vibrations. Your heart only knows how to speak language to you through vibrations. So if you are like in a certain kind of vibration that is unique to your soul, you absolutely will manifest a thing much faster than if you did it with your mind. Because your mind, like, think about your mind. Your mind it moves at 100 miles per hour. It's very hard to catch. It's very hard to understand, right, when you're doing it in the mind or in the mental level, right? And you would really need somebody like prompting you every day to tell you, like, do this, do this affirmation, or take an action that's aligned to this, or do that and this, like this, right? But really, like, if you can't duplicate and do it yourself, right, then why should you keep following somebody who says that you can infinitely create and receive whatever you want, but they haven't taught you exactly how you would do that for yourself that is aligned to you, because it's like I said, it's harder to duplicate somebody else's manifestation and how their techniques, then what will work for you is so personalized, it's so different. So okay, so I just wanted to say the heart only knows vibrations, right? The brain only knows patterns or sequences. Like, it only knows from a certain level of the way it's created, because everything, like I said, it's created and then it circulates us in our emotional, our mental, and our spiritual bodies, and that information is all stored around us. So depending on whatever information that we've had, past lifetimes, even what we think about the future, all that fourth dimensional aspect of our thoughts, our emotions, and all of that, it's already all surrounding you. So if you are throwing out affirmations and throwing out patterns and mindset stuff, it's hard to get out of the noise, because the noise is already there, right? So so I wanted to explain it by you seeing what I mean from a visual perspective. So let's say, this is your brain. So let's say this is your heart. I'm just going to draw a heart. I don't know if you can see, but your heart is directly connected all the way up to the brain. Okay, this is the neck and the body. Okay, this is the head. So this is the brain. We actually have 3 layers of our brain. We have to make it more simply, we have the neocortex, we have the limbic system, going to be backwards, so sorry about that, because that's just the way it is. It's going to show you the brain, then you have the brain stem. The brain stem is basically what makes your heart function. Like everything, it's shooting neurons and electrical pulses directly to the heart. So if you really, really want to create something from the heart, you actually need to create it from the brainstem. And how the brainstem speaks to you, like I said, is through vibration. Some kind of vibration or frequencies, right? So if your heart is like creating these like frequencies of like peace, of love, of power, of order, of compassion, and it's creating that vibrational level, it's going to directly affect your limbic system, which is the emotional part, and the neocortex, which is the mental part. So when you are actually manifesting from the brain, your neocortex is super overactive, and so it's trying to recreate and shoot impulses to create the vibration into the heart. And like, it has to break through doubt, and the bridge between your limbic system, it has to break through fear, and then it goes all the way down into the heart, right? So if you're speaking the language from the neocortex, like thinking of affirmations and thinking of, positive statements or stuff like that, it's much harder to go step by step all the way to the heart, right? But if you are doing it from the level of your brainstem, which, by the way, your brainstem only speaks in vibration and frequencies and not thought forms, actually through these kind of energetic frequencies, which is different than the limbic system, which is experiencing things through the emotion. So this is the way that we've been taught manifestation is, right? It's actually creation. It's just creating from your heart. It's creation. But when you're creating it from the brain, it takes longer to go from your neocortex, limbic system, brainstem, get into the vibration, and then the heart creates it. Because what we're doing right now, we're living in a holographic memory of whatever we want to create. And it's creating this experience. When you open your eyes, this is what you're experiencing. You're experiencing it actually from the heart. Your heart is creating this movie right now, right? So if you're spending so much time in your brain, in your limbic system, you end up feeling a lot of emotions of doubt, of fear, and you never really get to experience the joy, or never really get to experience the higher vibrations of like peace and love, or that kind of energy of truth or wisdom that naturally flows through us. And so, like I was saying here, when you manifest, okay, this is the old way. This is the way we've been taught. That you need to think positive thoughts, or you need to say, like, change maybe a mindset about something. Like let's say, you're told that you want to crave money. You need to change your mindset about the way you think about money. So then you need to say this affirmation: I am most abundant. I can receive thousands of dollars on my free will, or something like that, where you kind of have a phrase. You have that phrase, and your neocortex says, yeah, okay, I can have money at any time whenever I want. Cool, okay. But then your brain goes, doubt. Oh, I don't even know if that's true. Is that even possible? Like, I don't even have like $5 in my bank account right now. How is that even possible? Then you have to like go through this mental talk, right, of all this doubt, and you're fighting between your neocortex and your limbic system, and you're trying to figure out like, well, how am I supposed to go beyond that? Because I'm supposed to feel it. I'm supposed to feel good, right? I'm supposed to feel good that actually money is going to come in my bank account. I'm going to feel really good. I'm going to feel really joyful. I'm going to feel very peaceful. And you actually have to make up that emotion, right? And so then you have to break through some kind of fear that you have about money, like I have to sacrifice myself, or I have to suffer about money. Like all of those like deeper emotions, they come out, and then you have to break through this fear. Like, well, what if I give away? Like, let's say maybe the prompt was I'm going to give away the last $5 in my pocket to prove to myself that actually I can receive money back. Then the fear came up. Oh, that's not possible. Like, how is that going to be? How are you going to create that, right? It's like that's really difficult to create past the fear because it's so ingrained in us. Our doubt and fear is what keeps you stuck in your consciousness and what keeps you stuck from being able to create anything in your life, right? So what you're dealing with all up in there, you know, there's two parts of your brain here, your neocortex and your limbic system. You're just dealing with mindset issues, and unless you're super ninja and about mindset stuff, like it's really impossible to continue to manifest what you desire when you have that in your mind. Like when you have so much doubt and fear and emotions and stuff like that, doesn't allow you to actually to go beyond just your neocortex and limbic system. Oh, I paused for a second. Can you guys hear me? For some reason that it's a bit weak. Okay, hopefully it's recording well. So remember what I said, right? When you're manifesting everything from the brain here, you're dealing with so much emotions and mental patterns and mindset stuff that you need to deal with before you can actually take an action, right? Like your brain has to think about this like so difficult. It's like so difficult to think like this, and to change your mindset about all of this all in one sitting is almost kind of impossible, right? So this is the way that we've been taught through like law of attraction and all of these kind of receiving techniques and stuff like that, right? It's kind of like really difficult to duplicate it, right? Your brain is fighting this huge energetic noise that's coming from the neocortex and the limbic system, okay? So what if I told you that there's actually an easier way to do this, which this is through my experimentation on myself and then also my clients, is that what if you know what you at a soul level and you know exactly how your heart creates things and how the vibrational states and that frequencies you can really duplicate by you just taking aligned action to that frequency, right? So I created this soul aligned manifestation method where you take what we know you are at soul level, which is I call your soul's divine soul blueprints. And these blueprints are basic stuff about you, like what your main energy is, whether it's power, compassion, love, what was the others, like truth, wisdom, self-expression. All of that we already have embodied when we came directly from source. So all of that experiences of what you're at soul level is actually available to you, but you have to understand your unique frequency. And so I was able to label your highest psychic gifts archetype, your main divine gifts, what soul star you came from before, which is your personality of how you actually you actually have experiences as being from that star system. And I looked at what your business energy is, what's your business marketing archetype, like all of these specific things, and your manifesting blueprints. And so when you take all of that and then you apply that in your actual life, it's so much easier to duplicate because it's what your heart vibrates at naturally. And remember now, the brainstem is what creates frequencies. So if your soul is more about power, then if you vibrate and you create actions that are aligned to you being in your divine power, the heart will create exactly what you desire by that same frequency. Right, so then when you took some kind of aligned action to your power, maybe you did an empowering type of decision, like maybe you got out of a relationship or something that was very disempowering to you, whatever was not allowing you to be your soul, that energetic frequency, then bam, within like a couple minutes sometimes, or the next day, you start to not only experience it in your heart where you're feeling it in your body, but you actually create the exact replica of of an experience that's very empowering. Like, let's say like you suddenly got, $200 where you could actually spend using it to create more freedom or something to empower yourself. Or it could be something where you're empowering other people because it's the same vibration as what you created, right? Because you're in that frequency, and then you actually got the exact same kind of replicated energy, the same frequency came back to you. So this is what's so cool, is that no matter what you do, and you're in that frequency, you're aligning to all those different parts of your blueprints, you're going to get that exact experience replicated directly from the heart, which always turns out in a positive direction. What happens when you create from the brain, there's always going to be this positive and like negative effect at the same time, because you're only using, like I said, the newer part of your brain that creates a lot of like noise, energetic noise. But if you create oneness with your heart and taking aligned action in the brainstem, you create more positive experiences, because it's a higher frequency than this, which is usually very negative. Okay, so I have to explain that in detail because I think like we've never been taught this, but I've been experimenting with this. This is why I know how that all works, because this is vibration. So let's say you do an aligned action from the brainstem, which means that you got into a frequency of, my energy is about divine love. So if I do anything out of self-love, I automatically manifest, when I have that clarity though of what I wanted to create at the same time, and I'm in my movement of my manifesting blueprints, then the thing that I wanted absolutely creates within 2 to 4 days. Because if I'm vibrating and I'm taking action from the brainstem, then that loving vibration will absolutely what I would feel, right, in the heart. Like you would feel it. You would experience it from the heart. So this vibration becomes like your reality. And remember, your heart is what creates your multidimensional self. Everything that you know and you exist right now is created from the heart, not from the brain. We've been taught that the brain is super special, right? But actually, the brain, the neocortex, the newer part of our brain, is not as powerful as the heart, because the heart is its own brain. It actually functions as its own brain. So it's incredible. If you just start to learn about what your heart can create and just look from that perspective, you'll see life in a whole different way. You're going to see how easy life can be. It truly should be easy and flowing, but we've been taught that it has to be super complicated, and the reason is because we've been taught that we need to do everything from the brain up there, which, like I said, you're dealing with all of your doubts, your fears, and all the emotions and the mental patterns and the stuff like of your past life things, like they all come up while you're trying to manifest at the same time. So why do we create such a, when I think about like why do we create such a difficult sequence? When actually, when you use your intuition, it's instantaneous. It's like you go straight into the heart. If you use the brain method, which is you gotta go step here, think about that, think about like each and every part of it, like it's much longer than if you think from a heart perspective. If you want to get in your heart, you just go in your heart. It's like 1 second you can get in your heart. The masculine ways you gotta, in the meditation, right? I focus, receive energy, put in my heart, I ground myself. Like that's the very masculine way, but the feminine way is just you go, there I go, right in my heart, 1 second. That's how fast you can manifest if you start creating from the heart. Okay, so anybody have questions about that? Isn't that cool? I was thinking about this, and so I was like, I gotta share this with everybody. I'm really good at being consistent about sharing whatever awakenings I have, because they're always pretty profound, and it's usually very simple, but and I never leave it out. I never leave out details. I try to share exactly as it is. Okay, so you get that? If you just jumped on in, just listen to the recording of it, because I just explained about the brain, manifesting from the brain and manifesting from the heart, and the difference. Okay, so let's see what else I want to share. Oh yes, okay, so then here's the steps on how to create from the heart. Okay, so the easiest way, because remember, your heart talks to you through frequency. So that means that you have to actually get into that frequency of what your soul is trying to tell you, right? And then whatever prompt that's supposed to come through, like your source or creator will kind of like help you to feel it or to experience it, right? So the first step, this is the quickest way, is I gave this, I think, the other day or something, but I didn't explain the detail. So the first thing you need to do is be really present with your own unique energetic signature, your own unique soul's blueprints. So sometimes when you do a healing or clearing work with me, like, or if you watch my webinars or whatever, like I kind of let you feel what your energetic signature is. And it's a very particular type of energetic matrix, okay? So you first need to just get in your present state of feeling your soul, feeling the energetic signature of what your soul is, what your divine gift is, right? So like, for example, mine is mainly love, healing and connection, the vibration of peace, and magic, the feeling of magic. And so I kind of explained when I was at the beach, right, like what was happening. But that was by me taking aligned action to those particular things. I was able to experience those exact frequencies all within like 5 minutes. So if you really want to create something, and most of the time, like especially if you're a process person, you don't really need to know exactly what the outcome is. You just have to have an intention. But that's the first step. You have to be really, really present with that energy, that frequency of what your soul is. So when you're sitting there, then what you need to do is you need to take actions that resonate to that particular frequency. So like, for example, I gave that with, I had the feeling that I needed to spend time by myself, do an act of self-love. So that's why I went on my bike, I went down the road, went to the beach, because the beach is where my happy place is usually. Even if I don't go in the water, this always makes me feel happy. So I took each prompt, which was go to the beach. My soul said this. I just followed the prompt. This is the third step. It's to follow the prompts of these intuitive hits to take an aligned action, to remember those vibrations of those frequencies of the heart, what the heart is telling you to do. So that's what I did. I went to the beach. I was just taking in the magic, the energy, and I was like, oh, look at that, the rainbow, which rainbow to me looks like magic. Okay, so that's my frequency. Then I felt the need that I want to feel more freedom because I also have the energy of power. So I walked along the beach and I felt the energy of this empowering, freeing feeling. Then I got the prompt to write these words into the sand, which by the way was super, super like just words that came directly from source like a year ago. And I was just reminding myself of those exact words. So I wrote it in the sand, and then the next prompt was, oh, I need to share this. So just right before I was thinking, oh, I need to share this, I need to do a live stream. I got the prompt, okay, now go walk back to where your bike is. And then, you know, I was just taking in the energy of peace because the beach had peace, right? And if you think about it, I was experiencing connection, deeper healing and self-love, and my power and freedom and peace, like, and magic, right, which is my energetic signature. And then at that moment, money came into my bank account. I saw on my email that somebody paid for my program. So that's just an example of when you are aligning to what your heart desires, like, and you're taking actions that resonate to those particular vibrations of what you know your soul is. And that was just within 5 minutes. Like, I was experiencing all of that, well, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, because after that, then I did the live stream. But that's an example of soul alignment. It's like taking what you know you're at soul level and then bringing yourself into those particular frequencies so that you could actually get into, how to call it, like in following the intuitive hits. And then you're going to see like all kinds of things pop up, like somebody paid you from who needed you pay you from before. You may even have just somebody pay you like that, like I said, that just paid for my new program. You could get somebody that suddenly walks up to you and then tells you to have some lunch. Then you have some lunch, and then you find out that this person actually could help you get into some other speaking engagement that you've been looking for like 2 weeks before, you know, and you're just following the intuitive hits. And then, but you have to keep yourself in that frequency throughout every part of your life. So it's not like, oh, okay, I just already did that and it's done. But this is kind of the fastest way that you can create from the heart. But remember that when you actually know your blueprints, you can take these strategic action like every day and even manifest even bigger things than that, right? So anybody have questions? You can totally ask me questions too. Just gonna look at what everybody says. Go back up. Hi, Kay. Hi, Tori. Okay, so you guys did hear me. Okay, good. Hi, Lynn. Kimberly, Nicole, Naja. Oh, thank you, Michael. He said I'm a good teacher. You're super consistent, keeps me intrigued. Yeah, I'm really good at just sharing whatever comes up. Where does the self-trust come from? Like, to start listening. Do you mean like how do you start to feel self-trust? Or do you just mean that like just where do you get into that state of self-trust? To start listening, right? That's a good question. That's not a crazy question. That's a really good question. You know, one of the things that I've learned about trust, by the way, is the reason you don't trust is because of that, of the brain. Your neurocortex is telling you that your doubt. Oh, I don't know. Is that even possible? You know, whatever the doubt is, the neurocortex is speaking to you. And then your limbic system is creating this emotion and anger and, you know, things where you don't feel really good. And then you get deep into your fears, right? And then you don't really get to experience trust, which actually trust comes in from your brainstem. So like to start listening to yourself. Yes, self-trust. Okay. So how you actually build self-trust is through the aligned actions. So I think like when I really, really hated myself, like, when I was really younger and had depression and anxiety and all of these kind of things, the reason I was there was because I always had that doubt and that fear of all kinds of stuff, like really irrational things. And then when I look back at it, it was because I never had really good experiences of trusting like my gut or my intuition, or because I never had like good positive experiences. I had only negative ones in my childhood. So what I actually did was, after, if you know my story, I used to be a psychic monk, and for 10 years I used to be like a Mother Teresa, giving healings and meditation, teaching yoga, and all of this, like, be of service kind of lady. I was like that. So I went the opposite direction of what I knew from what I was at, what my life was before. I said, no, I don't want to ever be subjected to be disempowered from my past and from people and experiences that I didn't want to be myself, because I was afraid that if I let this newer version of myself come out, like what would people think about me, right? So I always had those thoughts, like, what people thinks about me. I don't think I can do that, like, and this I can't was all in my mind, in the mindset there. And I couldn't get out of it because that's all I thought about all day, and I had all this like noise in my head, right? But what changed was when I took action of helping people. So this is why they always say, like, do your purposeful work, because when you do your purposeful work, like, amazing stuff. I mean, like, amazing things manifest, but it really, really comes down to, like, your heart just starts to open. You start to crave from the heart. It's just the most natural thing to do when you just start helping people. So I just started helping people. Let alone, I was 21 years old. I, was part of the spiritual group, and every day I did that. Whether it was teaching somebody how to breathe, or teach them how to do the meditation that I learned, or and later on they became masters too, like me. And so, like, I grew people all around me to actually create this loving space that I can trust myself. And the more I aligned to just this being of service, the emotions and the thoughts, the doubts and the fears of, like, not trusting myself, like, really just vanished. So I don't have a lot of those kind of mindset issues anymore, because also I cleared all of that stuff in my Akashic records, and that's what I do, is I can clear all of that mindset and those blocks of your past lives and all of those things all in the background, because sometimes it is soul level blocks that is very difficult for you to maneuver through, because it's just like moving through sludge. So the self-trust honestly comes in by you helping others. Whenever I see anybody super stuck and they're just depressed and they don't want to do anything and they have a very small mind, I just say, hey, go next door, go to the homeless people, or go see somewhere where you can just be of service somehow, whether it's give $1 to somebody that just walked down the street, to talking to somebody that's just going through a very painful experience, and how much your heart just starts to open. So it's the reason why people cannot feel self-trust is because they themselves have not created experiences where they can absolutely feel like they are worthy or feel like they're valuable. So the easiest way is to go share your heart, right? And this is the same thing about manifestation, is if you really just share your heart and you're in that frequency, right, of your unique energy, like I was sharing with you, wow, imagine what kind of things will manifest, right? So let me just like show you guys quickly what it looks like with your manifesting blueprints. And I hope you guys can see it. I've been showing this a lot if you haven't seen it yet, but because people have been asking me, what is my blueprints? So what I do is I create this file just for you. And when you work with me, we go and look at all the different parts of your frequencies. All the different parts of I look at the most important things. So what are your main gifts? Are you power? Are you compassion? Are you love? Are you truth? Are you wisdom? Also what your soul star is, right? Which star system you came from. What is your specialization? How your soul likes to create abundance and financial abundance depending on how it expresses itself, its expertise. So I have all of this information about what's your business marketing archetype, which is your business model. What is your unique way that you like to create a business? Your business energy, your soul organizing principle. So the way it likes to organize itself, how it shows up, how people follow you accordingly to your business energy, which is usually very unique to you too. What's your life lesson? What's your abundance goals? How many spirit guides you have? To what is your highest psychic gifts? Because you do need to know that in order to expand even more. And then I also look at your manifesting blueprints. There's usually these 7 comparatives of exactly what your soul is, positive and negative. You're usually on a spectrum too. And I look at all the very specific things of these 7 comparatives to make sure which one you are, because usually we've been taught the opposite of our manifesting blueprints. More than 90% of our population is actually manifesting, like I said, through the brain, but they're also trying to duplicate other people's manifesting blueprints. So then this is why you never create what you want. You get really stuck. So when I'm looking up these particular things about what your soul is, when you start to take aligned action, you will notice that the things that you actually wanted previously, they just start to show up. Like they just start to become part of, like, you know, they start to come into fruition. And it's important to know your manifesting blueprints specifically, because you could be doing the total opposite of your spectrum here. And so these are just the specific, like most important specific things about your manifesting blueprints. But when you know even more, I even give you more detail when you work with me, like privately. It takes me 3 hours to explain everything about your blueprints, because I tell you in very detail. And so whenever you feel stuck, you can always go back and listen to it again, and then take aligned actions to those particular frequencies that I was talking about, right? So isn't that cool? Like how much more you would feel in that alignment. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm creating this Soul Line Manifestation Method program here. And I'm basically going to teach you how to take what I just showed you right there, your blueprints and everything. And we're going to do everything in 14 days to get you totally into soul alignment by using your blueprints. So if you've been wanting to know more about how to be in this soul alignment and how to manifest from the heart, this is the perfect program, because we're starting January 2nd. And I really, really want everybody to start learning how to manifest from the heart, because it's so much more easier than doing it from the brain, like I shared with you guys. Yeah. So if you're interested, just PM message me. Just let me know. Just let me know that you're interested in learning more about this. And it's my new program that I launched, I think, in October, and people had amazing manifestations, like from simple things like people started paying them, to they're finding money here and there, to like $5,000 in the bank account suddenly, to being on Glamour magazine, to being on podcast or on guest blog posts. And it was all aligned to them, because they did take aligned action, right? They did do their pitches, but it was in that alignment to them at the level of whatever their blueprints were, because they took aligned action. So I'm not saying that, you know, I'm absolutely, if you take this program, you're going to have like those kind of crazy manifestations. It is totally possible if you're taking these aligned actions, because it's resonating to your frequency, right? Your heart creation, and you're aligning to your soul's exact desires. because you're watching these like 10-minute videos to help you to understand the concepts about your soul's blueprints. And then you're doing these meditations that are going to help you to be more connected to source and the creator. And then every day you're going to be able to take these aligned actions. And once you take those aligned actions, then you're going to see that people, places, and things, they just start showing up, like absolutely show up. And I have lots of testimonials about that. So if you haven't seen it, it's on my website, leimomikeliikuli.com. And also, if you want to know more about like manifestation, soul alignment, and all this stuff, I have my Facebook group called Soul Alignment Leaders for Conscious Living. And there I teach even more stuff like this, and also other people who really, really believes in this kind of creation from the heart. And so, yeah, if you really, really want to know more, just let me know, and I can share more about it. But I really, really, my true desire, the reason I'm talking about this so much, is because I really believe that if you're aligned to your soul's gifts, you absolutely can have it all. Like, you can absolutely create success because it is aligned to your heart and your soul. So, of course, doing that purposeful work and that aligned action and being in that frequency and manifesting from the heart in that way, I'm pretty sure like all of those things will be created very quickly, right? So Wayne says, I cannot wait to begin. Yes. Yes, Soul Alignment Leaders for Conscious Living. So it's my Facebook group. So you guys can all jump in there and just, send join. And I'll let you guys join in. And you guys have any other questions? I wanted to take the time to answer anything if you guys have anything else. But yes, we're starting that next month already. And I'm not sure how over the next year, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue like giving everybody's blueprints, because it's very, very takes me a lot of time. But I'll probably be teaching you all of these kind of techniques so that you can actually start to just do this on your own without you having to take a full-on program like this. But the reason I created this 14-day program was because I wanted you to experience what that amazing manifestation feeling first, and then you can duplicate this all by yourself. So my goal in the program is to teach you everything you need to know within that 14 days, and then you just take that aligned action, and the momentum that you create for the next year is just phenomenal. I'm seeing all those people that were part of that first program. They are taking off in their business. They're becoming well known in their industry. They are manifesting a lot of money and all of that, just because that was what. Oh, by the way, this is how it works with alignment, is when you yourself is aligned to your soul, everything that you need, people, places, and things, they all follow behind you. We've been taught that we have to work really hard and push and expect amazing results, like more money, more fame, more whatever, right? Because you're taking that action. That's much harder to do. When you just get into this frequency, like I said, in your heart, you create from the heart, you're feeling that vibration, then everything that you want to be created, they all follow directly behind you. To me, that's much easier than doing the brain way, because we've been taught the brain way, and the heart just wants to create from love, from peace, and so being in that frequencies will absolutely create that very quickly, right? Hi Sarah, hi Carolyn. Laura says, have love listening, but not sure if this is for people. What do you mean people? Who are up level from me, as I am not psychic or energy healer person. Oh, you don't need to be. You don't need to be a psychic or energy healer at all, no. This first program is just to help you to learn how to create from the heart. And the next level is going to be actually expanding your highest psychic gifts. And so actually it's like teaching you how to become more of yourself, and then creating from the heart. So, but if you do feel like you want to learn more about your abilities, this first program is the best program to start with, because you're gonna feel that alignment, because the alignment happens through those soul line actions. So me showing you your blueprints and then you take a line action towards it will naturally expand your gifts. And even if, and by the way, your psychic gifts may look just kind of normal stuff, like for example, people who are amazing at cooking, their highest psychic gift is actually just the ability of smelling and knowing how to create amazing, tasteful stuff, right? That is a different kind of gift, but they have that ability of like using food as healing, as a way of healing people, right? So that doesn't mean that they're not psychic. They're actually psychic because they're using a much higher sixth sense than what normal people have. So it doesn't mean that you have to be, like doing psychic actual work. But it's more about you being able to get in tune of what your natural gifts are, which naturally you expand into your higher gifts, which naturally expands you to be more and more connected to Source and to God and to being in this creation of your heart. And this is what I call conscious living, right? Echo says again, great confirmations of where I'm at. Thank you for your great gift for your time. Oh, you're welcome, Michael. Yeah, it's totally, like I said, it's about conscious living. So you just need to start with, what is my soul? What is my soul's meant to express itself? How does it want to express itself? And then just start to take those aligned actions, and naturally your gifts just expand. And like I said, your higher psychic gifts doesn't necessarily look like that. I have like people who are amazing, like industry leaders, that their energy is all about power. Their highest psychic gifts is being able to create masterminds, like, coaching people on, what is most aligned to them and what kind of actions to take to make business revenue and stuff like that. That's them using their highest psychic gifts. But this is what I'm saying is this brings out your master genius. It brings out a whole nother higher level of you expressing yourself, of your own unique self-expression. And by the way, I'm going to create a TV show just about that, about like interviewing people of what they have experienced, of what got them to be the master genius at what they do, and how they actually got into that alignment, because a lot of times you kind of fall upon it and we don't even know until like we're in it, right? We're like, oh, I'm like teaching people how to sing and I never sang before, or things like that. Like it's usually something that you've already have thought about, but then suddenly it's like, oh, that is how my gifts actually looks like. It honestly, like your psychic gifts like looks so normal, but that it is your highest expression. So like my highest expression is doing grid work, because I'm a healer. I connect people. I help them heal parts of themselves. This is why I made the blueprints, because this is what gives people the roadmap of what their soul is all about, and bringing all of the parts of themselves that they disowned into oneness with themselves. And there you go. Like this is why I ended up doing those kind of activations and stuff on the land, because I can do it on people. Why can't I do it on the land, right? So like I said, you don't really need to think you need to be psychic. It's really about just being a higher master genius of a higher level of what your self-expression needs to be. And you'll find like how easy it is, because it's the most natural thing. And when you start owning that, that is when like people, places, and things that you want will just start to come into fruition, and just kind of work all together in harmony, and everything is just like moving with you. So this is what soul alignment is. It's bringing out your master genius, walking fully in your power, in your sovereignty, and then watch everything else that you need help with just follow you. That's how I live, by the way. Everything I ever need just shows up. People, places, things, like money, whatever I need. If I ever feel like I ever need something in particular, I just go right back into my heart, get into the vibration of what I want to create, and then the thing kind of comes into fruition. So don't be afraid of your psychic gifts, because actually it is just a higher version of you just expressing yourself, an easier way, right? So anyway, I talked your guys' ears off. I hope you enjoy this. I'm just gonna turn off that buzzing sound. And you know, make the time to really, really connect with your soul this way. Oh, by the way, right? Number one, get into your energetic signature, get into that present feeling. This is how you do it, right? To manifest them from the heart. Two is, you know, take actions that resonate to that particular frequency or that particular part of what your soul is. And then three, follow those prompts and just take that intuitive hits and go from there and just follow that flow. And that is the easiest way than doing it from the brain. And if you just jumped on in now, listen to the replay, because that was really profound. I just explained about how to manifest, the difference of manifesting from the brain and manifesting from the heart. Because it's totally much more difficult to do it from the brain than from the heart, because you literally have to go from the neocortex, break through your doubt, break through your limbic system, break through your fear, then go into your brainstem, then actually take an action, and then actually your heart can actually feel the vibration, and then the reality happens, like the manifestation happens. But if you actually do from the heart, you go straight to the brainstem, you create an action that resonates to the exact energy that you want to create, then whatever you are at soul level, and then you go straight into the heart of that vibration, and your heart creates it. That's like what that was like 2 steps, like what I explained to you, following the prompts and taking those aligned actions that feels really right intuitively, that's aligned to the particular vibration of what you want to create. And if you've never done this before, it's actually much easier than you think. As soon as you take that aligned action, this is why I said again to join my 14-day soul aligned manifestation method program, because I have an exact method that's going to allow you to manifest whatever you desire, like very quickly, every 2 to 4 days. And we're starting on January 2nd, so make sure you jump on this very soon so that I can actually make all of your blueprints. And when I make the blueprints, like I showed you on the screen, you'll get a recording. And if you do before the 26th, which is Monday, I will give you an extra shell clearing, which will give you more access to your heart and actually manifestation very quickly too. And anything that was blocking you will energetically also could disappear. Panic attacks, health issues that were there, all of that are what the shell is blocking you from being able to soul express. And so once that's gone, then you're able to actually take these aligned actions and feel your heart and soul feeling this oneness. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys all very soon. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, right? Aloha.